Good morning, my friends. My name is Don Clark, and I come to you this morning with something that I've wanted to say for a long time. I have written a piece about it, which is called The Fragility of Conspiracy, but I've decided this morning to make a video of my point. So here we go. But before I do, let me ask you a question. Imagine for one glorious moment, one glorious moment that all the governments of every country in the world got together and decided that for the sake of world peace and unity, we would now all speak the same language, all practice the same religion and politics, all have the same ideologies, the same everything, total uniformity on this earth in order to create peace and unity. Imagine that. Well, sadly, you can only imagine it because it is absolutely and utterly impossible. That would be a conspiracy of the greatest proportions ever conceived, and, in my opinion, and yours probably, utterly impossible. And let me tell you why. Let me start by reading you something. Here are some facts about our world. There are 195 different countries in the world. There are 6,500 different languages in the world. There are 4,300 different religions in the world. It is estimated that there are 3,800 distinctly different cultures in the world. And this is not to mention sects and cults. Okay? Besides this, there are currently as many as 27 incidences of conflict taking place in the world today. I'll just read some of them for you. Currently, there's civil war going on in the following countries: South Sudan, Yemen, Libya, Afghanistan, Syria, and Iraq. And there's criminal violence in Mexico. There's also interstate confrontation between the US and Iran, India and Pakistan, Israel and Palestine, Turkey and armed Kurdish groups. And North Korea is not talking to anybody. Okay, so under those circumstances, would it be even remotely possible for all the countries in the world, all the people in the world, to come together and agree on one thing? Just one thing under those circumstances. In a world as diverse as that, do you think it would be possible for all the governments in the world to conspire to agree on one thing? No, not in a million years. Yet, every day, I'm seeing otherwise ordinary citizens of average intelligence, I take it, putting up videos on social media which basically carry one message: that all those governments in the world, 195 countries, with all their divergent viewpoints and everything else that keeps them separate, okay, they've got together quietly and conspired to deceive their citizens into believing that there's a pandemic, all right, and that they must wear masks and be locked down. This is a conspiracy. This is an international conspiracy. It is utterly impossible for an international conspiracy to ever take place. But worse than this, there are people that believe that there's a clutch of, there's a dark force, there's a handful of individuals that are running the whole world. A handful of individuals so powerful that they've managed to control the governments of 195 countries that are as divergent as they come. People with different languages, religions, I don't have to say it again. This clutch of people have managed to control the world. Now, I don't know about you, but that's like something out of a not even a B grade science fiction movie. That's like something out of a C grade science fiction movie. It's so inconceivable, okay? Not only that, I watched a video this morning where a guy says, I think it's Austria. Now, Austria, the government, okay, has imposed lockdown. The government, bear in mind that in democratic countries, okay, the government is appointed, it's voted in by the people, paid for by the people. So they work for the people. But no. This guy says that the government in Austria is only locking the people down to gain more control over the people. I'm hearing this a lot too around the world, that the government suddenly, these governments that most people have appointed, suddenly want more control over them. What bullshit is that? In Austria, the government is obviously worried about the state of health of their citizens. It's winter in the Northern Hemisphere. COVID has spiked because people lock themselves in badly ventilated buildings. It's flu season. COVID has spiked and the government's saying, geez, what do we do for our people? They've appointed us, they pay us. What's the best course to ensure their health? Well, lock them down. It's got nothing to do with control. What's it got to do with control? Why would Austria suddenly, just because Hitler came from Austria and there's a history back there, Austria suddenly now want to control their people? And the governments of all the countries around the world want to control their people. What for? What do they suddenly want to control them for? What's the motive? What's the end result? It's impossible. Do you honestly believe that over a period of 2 years, the entire world's governments have got together to conspire to fool all their citizens about a pandemic that doesn't exist, about a vaccine that doesn't work, about masks that shouldn't be worn, about social distancing that shouldn't happen? Do you think that's possible? That every government in the world could do that, could even achieve that if they wanted to? Or this nefarious dark force could have got together and controlled all the governments in the world, considering how diverse the world is. You know what? The world can't even get together and achieve peace. They can't even achieve one thing, peace. Yet, whoa, they've all got together to bullshit us that there's a virus, that there's a pandemic, that we must wear masks. What absolute nonsense. Those people who are rabidly promoting this conspiracy theory, okay, have not stopped for a moment to consider that an international conspiracy is absolutely impossible for the reasons I've just given. My friends, once again, I appeal to you to stop and think before you believe the impossible. And more importantly, before sharing it. Please, people, that's my message today. Love and peace to you all.